Welcome to the Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is a weekly update for parents on all things social media and big tech. This episode is sponsored by Bark Technologies. I am super grateful that parents of today have a safer device option for our kids. The Bark phone was built for families who are looking to ramp up their child's online safety. It has the parental controls built in, unlike the iPhone, and allows us to manage their entire digital experience. More on Bark in the episode notes. I just landed about an hour ago from Denver. I went to a legislative conference called ALEC. I was able to present on a panel about TikTok and teen suicide. Here's a recap, since I think this is super relevant to parents, especially if your kid is on TikTok. So what we talked about mostly is the national threat that is TikTok, the platform our kids love to use. Why do they love it? Because it's built on an addictive and behavioral algorithm that makes them love it. To keep kids' eyes on the screen, they serve violent, explicit, and harmful content. And if a kid shows or displays mental health issues in any way, TikTok will ramp up the harm until the kid's feed is a stream of pro-suicide and self-harm content. I've seen this again and again and again. And if you're a parent and you have TikTok and you're not seeing that kind of content in your feed, that's because you get different content as an adult than teens do. So what we explored is the fact that our government, the US government, feels that TikTok is a national security risk due to the fact that it is owned by a Chinese company. And in China, the Chinese Communist Party, the government in China, has a golden share over Chinese companies like TikTok, which means that at any point, the CCP can require that TikTok send out a message, manipulate its users, or extract data on any person. This can lead to huge manipulative practices, especially when it comes to vulnerable children. In a recent interview with Representative Kat Kamika, Florida, I was told that TikTok is turning our children into foot soldiers for the Chinese Communist Party. This may seem insane, but it's true. It's why our government passed a divest or ban law against TikTok, saying that TikTok has to be sold to an American company or we will remove it from our app stores. Shortly after, TikTok sued us to overturn the law, so this is an ongoing issue. But what was spoken about on the panel is the true threat that TikTok is to our children and why parents need to speak up against this platform. I was surprised to learn after the panel that a TikTok employee actually sat at the back of our session. I would have loved to have a back and forth with this gentleman, ask him why TikTok is pushing suicide content to kids and what they're doing to stop it. So TikTok is unique in its element of foreign influence and its behavioral algorithm, but social media issues for kids is not just a TikTok problem. The same kind of suicidal and self-harm, eating disorder content is all over Snapchat and Meta and all other big social media platforms. That's why we need federal legislation to protect our kids across the platforms that they can access. So earlier this week on Tuesday, Senator Chuck Schumer announced that he will finally bring the Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, to the floor of the Senate for a vote. I'll tell you more about KOSA in a moment, but on Thursday, KOSA passed what's called a cloture vote, which ends a filibuster. So basically, the bill now goes to a full vote in the Senate on Tuesday. Since we have 70 co-sponsors in the Senate, bipartisan, and we only need 60 votes to pass, we expect it to pass. The next hurdle will be passage in the House. So now would be a great time to call or message your representative in the House. Go to house.gov and put in your zip code. Ask them to vote yes on KOSA. Some of you may not know exactly what is included in KOSA, so I'll give you a quick breakdown. KOSA is a necessary first step in regulating the tech companies, requiring them to protect children from dangerous online content and force them to take responsibility for the harms that they have a hand in. Online platforms under KOSA would have a duty of care. They must prevent minors from harm by protecting their information, disabling addictive product features, and giving the option to opt out of algorithms. Under KOSA, tech companies would be required to limit their users from communicating with children and limit features that increase, sustain, or extend the use of the platforms, the addictive features like autoplay for videos and platform rewards. Under KOSA, online platforms would have to be defaulted to the safest settings possible for accounts it believes to be minors, which I think is important because I've seen research that kids will leave the safety settings as is, most kids. So please consider supporting KOSA and letting your representative know so many children have died that would be here today if KOSA had been passed. Next up, so this week, Meta finally did something real to protect kids from sextortion on their platforms. To bring you up to speed, kids have been getting targeted on social media, mostly teen boys. They're contacted by a girl, someone who looks like a girl, who engages in conversation, flirts, and asks for a nude or sexual video. Once that video is captured, the girl reveals themselves to be a man and asks for money, or the image will be sent to the boy's family and friends. These are very sophisticated crimes that are resulting in many teen suicides. The men doing this extortion are nearly all from Nigeria. They call themselves the Yahoo Boys. They have been openly sharing scripts and tips on how to sextort on public Facebook groups. You can learn more about this crime through my interview with with cyber analyst Paul Raphael. But what Meta did this week is remove 63,000 Instagram accounts from Nigeria who were targeting teens. They also removed around 7,200 Facebook accounts, pages, and groups run by the Yahoo Boys and being used to organize, recruit, and train new scammers. Meta also made a couple adjustments to settings to help users identify sextortion threats. Parents have been raising the flag about sextortion for maybe 1 or 2 years, and just now Meta is removing the 60,000 plus accounts that are targeting our teens. That's disappointing that it took so long, and will this be enough to stop the rising rates of sextortion, resulting in teen suicide? Hopefully, and I'll keep you up to date on this issue. I hope to see other platforms as well, like Snapchat, take similar measures in protecting our children from sextortion. Last up for this week, I was recently sent the 2024 National Drug Threat Assessment, which is created and put out by the DEA. You might be wondering why I'm bringing up drug threats on a podcast about social media. Well, the words social media were found within this drug threat assessment on just about every third page. This might scare you, but if your child is on social media, they are a direct target of the Mexican drug cartels. Here's what you need to know briefly, and I'm linking to the full report in my Instagram bio and the episode notes. So there are 2 cartels in Mexico that are buying chemicals and pill presses from China. The cartels are called the Sinaloa Cartel and the Jalisco Cartel. Once they obtain the materials from China, they manufacture drugs like cocaine and pills in labs. These drugs are now more deadly than ever because cartels are using fentanyl and a couple other highly addictive and deadly yet cheap substances. The pills are being created to look exactly like prescription pills, but they are in fact made with fentanyl and other filler. And 7 out of 10 pills seized by the DEA last year contained a deadly dose of fentanyl, the amount equivalent to just 10 grains of salt. These cartels have a presence in all 50 US states, and they use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Telegram, and other encrypted apps to market and sell the fentanyl-laced drugs. They use emojis or numeric codes to get around the social media filters. They use geolocators within social media like SnapMap to find kids and even deliver the products to their home or to school. The threat is real here, and I hope all parents take it seriously. Have regular conversations with your child, and be sure to stock Narcan nasal spray in your home just in case. And Narcan is available over the counter at most major pharmacies. The DEA offer a number of resources for parents and teens on the final page of the report, and a big update that just dropped today. The leader of the Sinaloa cartel, Ismael Garcia, has been taken into custody by U.S. officials following a sting operation. Hopefully this arrest will impact the drug trade and make some of these illegal substances less available to our children. I will keep you updated on all of that, and that is it for this week's Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. Thank you for listening, and as always, prioritizing your child's online safety. I'll be back next week.